poor wife saw Billionaire bring Mistress home, turned away in anger. Millionaire was completely panicked. A humble wife, a powerful billionaire, and a secret mistress, sometimes the world's most heart-wrenching betrayals, hide in plain sight. Lily Thornton never imagined she would witness her husband, Michael Thornton, one of the city's wealthiest men, walking through their front door with another woman on his arm. The shock in that single moment turned her life upside down, igniting a tempest of buried secrets, twisted alliances, and unexpected revelations. With the entire family name and fortune at stake, Lily is thrust onto a path of heartbreak and vengeance. Before the dust settles, loyalties will be tested and hearts shattered beyond repair. Lily Thornton was not born into a life of privilege. She grew up on the outskirts of Park Heights, a town known for its sweeping hills, quaint cottages, and wealthier enclaves where flashy cars cruised by on Sunday afternoons. While many of her childhood friends yearned to marry rich and ascend the social ladder, Lily dreamed only of finding a small but cozy life where love mattered more than money. She had a gentle heart. She believed that kindness could bridge any gap between people from different worlds. Her father, George Wilson, worked as a mechanic. He was good at his job, skilled at spotting the hidden fault in an engine, but a natural-born dreamer who was rarely satisfied with the routine. Whenever Lily dropped by his workshop, he would regale her with stories about the wealthy elite who passed through, complaining about squeaky brakes on their expensive cars. Lily always saw a bit of sparkle in his eyes when he spoke about that glamorous world. Despite their modest life, he encouraged her to look beyond the limits of their old paint-chipped door. Lily's mother, Sophie Wilson, was a kind and selfless woman who taught Lily that true fulfillment came from giving rather than receiving. Their home was often filled with second-hand furniture and the aroma of simple but hearty meals. Even so, the Wilson household radiated a warmth and authenticity that left a lasting impact on Lily. She learned from her mother the power of compassion, a trait she would carry with her for the rest of her life. It wasn't until Lily turned 19 that she first met Michael Thornton at a charity ball hosted by the wealthy Peterson family. She had volunteered there, serving drinks and refilling snack trays, content just to watch from the sidelines as sophisticated men and women dazzled the room with glittering jewels and polished smiles. Michael, then a recently ascended billionaire after a string of lucrative tech ventures, saw Lily from across the room. He was older by more than a decade, tall and meticulously groomed, with a self-assured aura that clung to him like a perfectly tailored suit. The moment Lily stumbled in her volunteer shoes, nearly dropping a tray of wine glasses, Michael rushed over to help her. He caught the tray just in time, and their eyes met in what felt like a moment conjured out of a fairy tale. He smiled at her, his own heart beating in a way he had never experienced before. Lily's face flushed, her cheeks warm, her breath still shaky from the near accident. In that moment, the difference in their social standing seemed irrelevant. Within months, Michael was visiting the Wilsons' modest home. He would spend hours chatting with George about vintage cars, even offering to sponsor a refurbishment project at the mechanic's shop. He brought Sophie fresh tulips on Sundays, her favorite flower, and quickly became a beloved presence in their household. When Michael proposed to Lily a year later, no one in the Wilson family doubted his sincerity. The wedding, held in the lush gardens of the Thornton estate, became the talk of both Park Heights and the neighboring city. Lily, radiant in a delicate white gown, believed wholeheartedly that love had the power to bring two different worlds together. Yet as months turned into years, the sparkle that first ignited their romance began to fade. Michael's business empire demanded nearly all his time. He began traveling frequently: Paris for a board meeting, Tokyo for a partnership negotiation, Dubai to scout new investors. Lily's text messages often went unanswered for hours, sometimes days. She would wait up late into the night, a single lamp illuminating the bedroom, longing for the sound of his footsteps in the hall. Still, Lily held on to hope. She believed patience and understanding could restore what was lost. In her eyes, Michael was not just a billionaire. He was the gentleman who saved her from an embarrassing accident and showered her parents with kindness. But as she would soon learn, love alone can't always fill the widening gulf between two hearts. In the sprawling Thornton mansion, Lily felt simultaneously like a princess and a prisoner. The estate was perched on a hill, offering panoramic views of the city skyline. Wide marble steps led to a grand foyer with a chandelier that sparkled even in the dim morning light. Corridors stretched endlessly, and dozens of rooms, some of which Lily had never even stepped into, displayed the vastness of Michael's wealth. Despite this palatial environment, loneliness accompanied Lily at every turn. Michael Thornton was a savvy businessman, known for turning stumbling enterprises into profitable ventures. While Lily loved his ambition, she loathed the late-night phone calls and the hushed arguments he would have with his business partners over fleeting challenges. She despised the way he would leave the mansion at dawn to catch a private jet, leaving her behind with only an apologetic note. At first, Lily attempted to carve out her own path. She started charitable programs for underprivileged children, hoping to fill her days with meaningful work while Michael was away. She made friends with a few philanthropic socialites who were initially welcoming, but as soon as they learned that Lily's background wasn't upper crust, snide comments slipped into their whispers. "Isn't she just a mechanic's daughter?" one woman murmured at a luncheon. Lily pretended she hadn't heard, but the words stung. The drifting between husband and wife was gradual but undeniable. Michael's occasional bouquets and expensive gifts never quite erased the feelings of uncertainty that bloomed within Lily's heart. She tried to communicate her fears, but her words often fell on ears distracted by business deals and global ventures. When they did talk about their future, Michael reassured her that once his company stabilized, everything would settle down. She believed him until the company grew even larger, leading to more branches, more expansion, more million-dollar deals. One afternoon, Lily decided to invite an old family friend, Karen Munoz, over for lunch. They had met years ago at Lily's old part-time job as a grocery clerk, before Lily married Michael. Karen was a realist, quick to see the flaws in any situation, but also fiercely loyal. As they sat in the Thornton mansion's lavish dining room, Karen couldn't help but notice Lily's forced smile. "How are you really doing?" Karen asked pointedly, glancing over the polished silverware and the ornate tablecloth. Lily hesitated, fiddling with the edge of her plate. "I'm fine," she said softly, then exhaled as her shoulders slumped. "I miss Michael. He's not here enough. He's always busy with something else, another crisis, another new venture. I'm not even sure where I fit into his life anymore." Karen reached for Lily's hand. "Tell him, communication's important. He might be swamped, but he has to make time for you. You're his wife." Looking at Karen's sympathetic gaze, Lily felt a pang in her chest. She resolved to talk openly with Michael that evening if he came home. Unfortunately, Michael didn't return that night, nor the next. A cryptic text arrived from him: "Delay in Berlin. Will explain when I return. Love you." Lily mulled over the message, worried that Michael's routine had become so foreign to her, suspecting a deeper rift. She wasn't ready to name. Was it just business? Or was something darker lurking beneath the surface? It was a windy afternoon, with storm clouds gathering over the city's skyline, when Lily first sensed that her marriage had taken a tragic turn. Michael had returned from Berlin that morning, but with little explanation. He seemed unusually distant, pacing around the mansion aimlessly. Even their staff, who usually kept a professional distance, exchanged uneasy glances whenever they heard Michael's voice echo in the hallways. That evening, Lily decided to confront him directly, ignoring her own trepidation. She found him in his office, staring blankly at a spreadsheet on his laptop. Papers were strewn around, and the normally immaculate desk was in disarray. "Michael," she began, "we need to talk. What's going on with you lately?" He didn't look up. "Lily, I'm swamped." "Not now, please." The way he brushed her off ignited a spark of frustration. She had been patient, too patient, perhaps. "No," she insisted, stepping closer. "We've been putting off this conversation for months. I can't live in the dark anymore." At last, Michael lifted his gaze. His eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep. For a moment, Lily thought she saw regret flicker in them. "Things are complicated," he admitted, pressing 2 fingers against his temple. "I'm dealing with some new investors. It's high stakes, Lily. These deals could set us up for the next decade." A bitter chuckle escaped Lily's lips. "Michael, do we need more money? We have everything, this estate, the cars, the staff, but I feel like I'm losing you. Maybe it's not all about the business anymore." Michael tensed. She noticed how his posture changed, as though he was bracing for a blow. "There's nothing else," he murmured, averting his eyes. "It's business. We're on the brink of a major IPO, and if it succeeds, we'll be unstoppable." Lily's intuition screamed otherwise. She pressed him further, but he stood up, ending the conversation by leaving the office entirely. She watched him go, heart hammering. That night, she barely slept, haunted by the memory of the emptiness in his eyes. The storm that had been brewing all day finally arrived the next afternoon, just as Lily was sitting in the living room, listlessly flipping through channels on the massive television. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and fat droplets of rain crashed against the windows. Outside, the driveway that curved up to the mansion glistened, reflecting the intermittent flashes of lightning. Suddenly, Lily heard the roar of an engine. She peered out the window to see Michael's sleek black Mercedes pull up. Relief flooded through her. He had barely been home for the past few days. She rushed toward the foyer, eager to greet him and possibly hash out their issues. But when she saw him step out of the car, her heart dropped like a stone. A tall, striking woman with flowing chestnut hair emerged from the passenger side. She looked around with a hint of curiosity before resting her gaze on the mansion. Michael seemed to pause, as though weighing whether to walk in first. Then, in a moment that would be etched into Lily's memory forever, he placed his hand on the woman's lower back, guiding her gently forward. The intimacy of the gesture felt like a dagger piercing Lily's heart. Time slowed to a crawl. Lily stood frozen behind the glass front door, her hands trembling. She wanted to burst outside and scream or hide away so that Michael wouldn't see her. In the end, she couldn't move at all. The thunder continued to rumble, drowning out the sound of her ragged breathing. The door swung open, and Michael paused mid-step when he saw Lily standing there. His eyes flicked to the woman by his side. She was elegantly dressed in a fitted black trench coat, and she looked at Lily with a cool detachment that sent shivers down Lily's spine. "Lily," Michael began, his voice tense, I didn't expect you to be here." Pain contorted Lily's features. How could he not expect his own wife to be in her own home? She felt as though the walls were closing in around her. Still, she managed to speak, her voice almost a whisper. "Who is this, Michael?" He hesitated, swallowing hard. This is Cassandra Knight. She's an investor. We had some urgent matters to discuss." Though Lily was neither naive nor a fool, she still held on to a glimmer of hope that perhaps she was misunderstanding the situation. "Investor?" she repeated, focusing on Cassandra's face, which displayed a subtle smirk. Rainwater dripped from Cassandra's trench coat, leaving dark splotches on the marble floor. Michael glanced anxiously at Cassandra. "We needed privacy for a conversation," he explained, his words a little too rushed. "I was going to text you." Lily turned her gaze to Cassandra. "You're just here for business, right?" she asked, voice trembling. Cassandra sized Lily up with an unreadable expression. Yes, she said, her tone formal. Strictly business. Miss S. Thornton. Something about her eyes told a different story. There was a gleam of triumph, as if she knew something Lily did not. Lily's stomach twisted in knots. She stepped aside, allowing them to enter. The staff shuffled behind them, rushing to offer Cassandra a towel. Michael took the lead, guiding Cassandra toward his private study. Before disappearing around the corner, he cast Lily a pleading look, as if begging her not to overreact. Overreact? Lily felt as though her heart was being torn from her chest. She was stunned, humiliated, and above all, furious that Michael was flaunting another woman in front of her. She wanted answers, but fear kept her silent. As the sound of rain echoed outside, Lily retreated to the living room, tears burning at the corners of her eyes. The hours ticked by, and the storm outside eventually subsided. Inside the Thornton mansion, however, the tension continued to mount. Lily paced the corridors, hearing faint murmurs from behind the closed door of Michael's study. She didn't dare intrude, worried that the confrontation would end in an ugly display she couldn't take back. Still, dread gnawed at her. This woman, Cassandra, felt like the embodiment of every fear Lily had been trying to suppress for months. Finally, close to midnight, Cassandra left the study, escorted by Michael. Lily quickly hid behind a pillar to avoid detection. She watched Michael walk her toward the front entrance, his voice hushed. Their silhouettes were illuminated by the ornate chandelier overhead. Cassandra held a black leather folder, which presumably contained documents they had been working on. Lily heard a snippet of conversation. "We'll finalize the details soon," Michael said, his tone gentle. Looking forward to it, Cassandra replied, "I hope next time we can avoid complications." A swirl of anger rose in Lily's chest. The words stung. The woman left, stepping into the waiting car that whisked her away from the Thornton estate. The moment the car disappeared down the driveway, Lily emerged, arms crossed. Michael turned sharply at the sound of her heels on the marble floor. He looked exhausted, as if he had aged years within a single evening. "Lily," he began softly, "we need to talk." She said nothing, her silence a palpable reproach. He ushered her into the living room, flipping on a dim table lamp. The warm glow fell on Lily's tear-streaked face, highlighting the anguish that twisted her features. "She's an investor," Michael repeated, rubbing the back of his neck. "She's crucial for a new venture part of an international merger. I needed to close this deal personally. You have to believe me. This is about the future of our company." Lily's hands shook with barely contained fury. "Then why did you bring her here into our home without warning?" Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "Business deals belong in an office or a boardroom or a hotel conference suite. Not our private living room, not like this." "I know," Michael replied, a note of genuine remorse creeping into his voice. Cassandra insisted. She said she was pressed for time and leaving the country tomorrow. She needed to see the personal side of my life, to trust me completely. "You have no idea the stakes, Lily. We're talking about billions here." "Billions," Lily repeated bitterly, her voice trembling. "Everything is always about money with you now. When did that become more important than our marriage?" Michael's face crumpled. He stretched a hand toward her, but she stepped back. "I'm sorry," he said, frustration lacing his words. "I never wanted to hurt you. Yes, the money's important, but not just for me, for us, for our future, for our children's future, if we decide to start a family." Lily's heart clenched at the mention of children. How could they even think about that while their marriage was imploding? She thought about her parents, George and Sophie, who had so little yet loved so deeply. A bitterness rose within her. "Don't talk about children," she snapped. "You're never even here." Michael swallowed, tears threatening in his own eyes. "I messed up, Lily. Please, let's figure this out together." She wanted to fling open the door and run out into the night. But she couldn't. This was still her home, and she loved this man despite it all. Instead, she turned away, arms wrapped protectively around herself. "I'm exhausted, Michael. I can't do this right now." That night, Lily slept in the guest room, staring into the darkness as a million questions plagued her mind. Had Michael really brought Cassandra here just for business? Or was there something more sinister, more personal going on? The next morning brought an uneasy calm. Michael had left early, presumably for meetings or more damage control related to his business expansions. Lily sat alone at the breakfast table, a plate of untouched toast in front of her. She dreaded being cooped up in the mansion, haunted by memories of Cassandra's poised smirk and Michael's unconvincing reassurances. Needing to clear her head, Lily drove across town to a small cafe near Park Heights' older district. She dialed an old friend, Robert Chan, a self-made millionaire who had known Lily since her high school days. Robert had grown up with modest means, just like Lily, but had discovered a talent for international trade that catapulted him to wealth in his late 20s. Despite his successes, he remained humble and had always been a steadfast confidant. Within half an hour, Robert arrived at the cafe, looking concerned. He was dressed casually, hair slightly disheveled, a stark contrast to Michael's perpetual business attire. He wasted no time sliding into the seat across from Lily. "What's wrong?" he asked, leaning forward. "You sounded desperate on the phone." Tears welled in Lily's eyes, but she forced herself to remain composed. In halting sentences, she recounted what had transpired the previous night, Cassandra's arrival, Michael's evasive explanations, and the crushing sense of betrayal. Robert listened intently, his expression darkening. "That's unacceptable," he said firmly. "Business or not, Michael can't just bring another woman to your home like that." Lily nodded, feeling momentary relief at Robert's outrage on her behalf. "He swears it was all business. But I don't know. Something about this Cassandra woman feels off. The way she looked at me, it was like I was intruding on her territory." Robert leaned back, exhaling. "I've heard of Cassandra Knight. She's a big name in the international investment community. Rumor has it she's ruthless, not just in business, but personally. She knows how to dig her claws into whatever she wants." A chill ran down Lily's spine. What if she wants Michael? Robert frowned, concern etching lines across his forehead. "I won't lie to you. It's possible. But the bigger question is, what is Michael doing about it? He should know better than to blur professional lines." Lily bit her lower lip, grappling with the memory of Michael's anguished apologies. "He seemed sorry. He said he's just under immense pressure. He might not fully realize that Cassandra has other intentions. Or maybe," she inhaled sharply, "maybe he's complicit." Robert's eyes flashed with protective anger. "I hate seeing you like this. I know you still love him, but you can't let him keep you in the dark." They sat in silence, broken only by the clinking of cups and murmured conversations of other patrons. Lily found a modicum of comfort in Robert's presence. He represented a piece of her past, from a time before wealth and status overshadowed everything. After a thoughtful pause, Robert spoke again. "Do you want me to look into Cassandra? I have contacts who can discreetly gather information." "No matter what you decide to do, Lily, knowledge is power." A wave of gratitude swept over her. "Yes," she whispered, "I need to know the truth. Whatever it is." Robert squeezed her hand gently. "I'll make some calls. In the meantime, try to stay strong. And remember, you're not alone." Lily left the cafe, feeling slightly emboldened by Robert's support. Yet a knot remained in her stomach, a deep sense that she was stepping onto a battlefield where the stakes were not just her marriage, but the future she had painstakingly built with Michael. While Lily tried to carry on, avoiding public scrutiny, gossip about Cassandra's presence in Michael's life began to seep into high society circles. The very philanthropic socialites who once doubted Lily's belonging now had fresh reason to whisper behind her back. Rumors circulated that Cassandra Knight was more than just an investor. She was a seductive enigma who had enthralled countless entrepreneurs before. And now, it seemed, Michael was her latest target. Despite Lily's suspicions, Michael continued to insist that nothing improper was going on. He chalked the rumors up to jealous, idle chatter and repeatedly reminded Lily that Cassandra was essential to the upcoming business merger. Lily wanted to believe him, but found her trust wearing thin with every new tidbit of gossip. Even her mother, Sophie Wilson, noticed the change when Lily visited her parents one evening, tearfully asking for advice. "Your father and I have been married for 30 years, Sophie told her gently, stroking Lily's hair as they sat on the worn living room couch. Trust and respect are the foundations of any marriage. If he's lying, or if you feel something is amiss, don't ignore that instinct. Speak your mind." But speaking her mind to Michael was like shouting into a windstorm. He seemed to be always on the move, always making an urgent phone call, so Lily waited, swallowing her fears. Days stretched into a week without any sign of Cassandra at the mansion. Lily dared to hope that perhaps the crisis was waning. Then, one late afternoon, Lily wandered into the garden to pick fresh roses. She needed a distraction, something to occupy her mind. The scent of the earth and the warm sunlight offered her a fleeting sense of calm. But that calm was shattered when she heard a car door slam near the side entrance of the mansion. Curious, Lily made her way around the hedge, her heart caught in her throat when she saw Cassandra stepping out of a silver sports car, high heels clicking on the driveway. Next to her stood Michael, exchanging animated conversation. Lily ducked behind the tall rose bushes, straining to catch their words. "The board is still uncertain," Michael was saying. "They think it's risky to finalize the deal right now." Cassandra's laugh rang out, cold and confident. "They're fools. This is the best time to strike. You and I both know it, Michael. You just need to be more persuasive. Show them the future." Michael nodded, though he looked weary. "It's not that simple. They need to see everything in black and white numbers, projections, user data. This is a global move, Cassandra." With a shrug, she moved closer to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. He didn't immediately pull away. "You're going to make billions from this, Michael. Don't let fear stop you." That subtle intimacy, the hand on Michael's shoulder, made Lily's stomach lurch. She could scarcely believe this was happening in broad daylight. Suddenly, the reality of it all hit her like a tidal wave. She couldn't stay silent any longer. Emerging from behind the bushes, she marched up to them, cheeks flushed. Cassandra's hand slipped away from Michael's shoulder the moment she noticed Lily's approach. A flash of annoyance swept across Cassandra's face, quickly replaced by a coolly polite smile. "Hello, Miss S. Thornton," Cassandra said, tone dripping with civility. "I was just discussing some urgent business with your husband." Lily ignored her, locking eyes with Michael. "You promised me you'd conduct this business elsewhere." Michael hesitated, uncertain how to react to Lily's emotional outburst. "Cassandra needed to go over some figures. You keep saying that," Lily snapped, voice thick with tears. "How many more times will she appear out of nowhere? How many more times are you going to let her walk into our life, our marriage, like she owns it?" Cassandra watched them both, her expression vaguely amused. "I assure you, Lily, there's nothing untoward happening here. This is purely transactional." Lily wanted to retort but found herself at a loss for words. The hypocrisy of Cassandra's statement was overwhelming. She spotted a triumphant gleam in the woman's eyes, as though Lily's outrage only confirmed some private suspicion. Michael stepped between the two women, gently guiding Lily away. "Let's talk inside," he said, firmly, casting Cassandra an apologetic nod. "Cassandra, I'll see you next week at the board meeting." Cassandra returned to her car, giving Lily a final, pointed glance, then drove off in a swirl of dust. As the roar of the engine faded, Michael ushered Lily into the mansion and closed the door behind them. The grand foyer suddenly felt suffocating. "I can't keep doing this," Lily said quietly, tears threatening to surface. "I can't keep letting her into our home, into our marriage." Michael took a deep breath, running a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry," he murmured, "but I need her investment. We're in the midst of final negotiations. After it's done, I promise, there will be no reason for her to come here." "How can you be so sure?" Lily asked desperately. "And why does she have such a hold on you?" He didn't answer immediately, which only heightened Lily's anxiety. Finally he said, "Because she could ruin everything. She's used to getting what she wants." A chill seized Lily. "What exactly does she want, Michael?" He shook his head, lips pressed thin. "It's complicated." Then he added more softly, "This deal is more than just money. It's about the brand, the tech expansions, potential power plays in the industry. Cassandra has connections that could make us unstoppable." Lily's voice trembled. "And what about us? Does she want you or your money or both?" Michael didn't respond, looking away. In that silence, Lily felt the bottom drop out of her world. She realized with a sickening clarity that she might be losing the man she had once believed was her soulmate. Desperate to uncover the truth, Lily waited for Robert Chan's update. When his call finally came, her pulse raced. She scheduled a covert meeting at a discreet lounge across town. Lily arrived early, her nerves frayed, only to see Robert already seated in a quiet corner, a folder resting on the table before him. He stood to greet her, worry etched on his features. "Sit, Lily. We need to talk." She settled into the chair, her heart pounding. "What did you find?" Robert opened the folder, revealing a stack of documents. "My sources confirm Cassandra Knight's background is as murky as it gets. On the surface, she's a successful investor with a knack for forging global deals. But there are claims of blackmail, hush money, broken engagements. She's tangled with at least 3 high-profile executives in the past few years, each time leaving with a sizable chunk of their business." Lily's face went pale. "Is she extorting Michael?" "I can't say for sure," Robert conceded. "But there's a pattern. She makes men feel indispensable. She lures them with promises of exponential growth for their companies. Then she tightens her grip until they can't walk away without facing catastrophic losses." A shiver ran down Lily's spine. Michael is risking everything, his reputation, our marriage. But why? He's already wealthy. He doesn't need more. Robert sighed. "You know how these high-stakes deals are. It's not just about money. It's about power, influence. Some men can't resist the allure of having the biggest empire on the block." Lily's hands clenched under the table. "Do you think she's sleeping with him?" Robert looked pained. "I don't have evidence of that. But Cassandra's known to blur professional and personal boundaries. From what I've heard, she's masterful at turning business relationships into something else." "I'm sorry, Lily." The room seemed to tilt. Lily inhaled sharply, forcing herself to remain calm. "I can't let her destroy my marriage. And I won't let her manipulate Michael into some corporate fiasco." Robert closed the folder. "You might need to confront her directly. Or you can force Michael to choose his marriage or the deal." Tears threatened to fall, but Lily blinked them back. "Forcing him might push him further away." She whispered, "I have to be strategic." Robert nodded, his gaze full of compassion. "Then we find a way to expose Cassandra for who she really is. If her track record becomes public, she'll lose her leverage over Michael and his board. But this could get messy." Lily's jaw tightened with resolve. "I don't care about messy. I only care about saving my marriage, if it's even salvageable." That weekend, Michael announced that he was hosting a small gathering at the mansion for key stakeholders, no doubt under Cassandra's instructions. Lily could hardly believe it when she saw the guest list. Cassandra's name was at the top, and Lily's own name was listed as spouse. The audacity of it all made Lily's blood boil. Determined to stand her ground, Lily dressed in a simple but elegant gown that accentuated her regal posture and quiet confidence. As she emerged from her dressing room, Michael caught sight of her. His eyes roamed over her figure, a spark of the old admiration flickering in his gaze. "You look beautiful," he said softly, momentarily disarmed. Lily offered a thin smile. "Thank you." They descended the sweeping staircase together. In the foyer below, catering staff hustled about, arranging fine champagne flutes and gourmet appetizers. The main living area had been transformed into a sophisticated venue with ambient lighting and soft, instrumental music playing. Guests arrived in a steady stream: board members, business tycoons, and a few celebrities known for their philanthropic ties to the Thornton Empire. Lily exchanged polite greetings, all the while scanning the crowd for Cassandra. She finally spotted her near the bar, laughing with a group of men who seemed utterly captivated by her every word. She wore a form-fitting black gown, her hair swept into a sleek chignon, the picture of refined power. Before Lily could decide on her next move, Cassandra broke away from the group and walked directly toward her. They met in the center of the room, the tension between them almost tangible. "Mistress Thornton," Cassandra greeted, her lips curving into a smile that never quite reached her eyes. "You look exquisite tonight." "You as well," Lily replied, keeping her tone even. "Enjoying the party?" Cassandra surveyed the surroundings. "It's lovely, though not as exclusive as I imagined. Then again, Michael has always been the generous type, hasn't he?" She paused, letting the words linger. "Generous with his time, his affection." Lily's cheeks flamed with anger. "What exactly is your agenda here, Miss Knight?" Cassandra's eyes flickered. She leaned in, her voice low and nearly drowned out by the background music. "To do business, of course. I've made that abundantly clear. But if you're worried about losing your husband, you might want to step up your game." A wave of fury coursed through Lily. She struggled to keep her composure. "Don't underestimate me." "I know what you are," Cassandra laughed, a soft, menacing sound. "My dear, you have no idea what I'm capable of." With that, she turned and walked away, her hips swaying confidently. Lily stood rooted to the spot, heart pounding. She glanced around the crowd and caught sight of Robert Chan, who had been invited at Lily's request. He was wearing a tailored suit, casually sipping a drink. When their eyes met, Lily motioned discreetly for him to follow her. They retreated to a quiet corner. "That woman has practically declared war," Lily murmured, voice shaking with anger. Robert handed her a small device, a USB. "I managed to get my hands on some damning documents," he explained quietly. "Emails that suggest Cassandra manipulated funds from her last deal. If this gets to the board, they might reconsider trusting her. But it has to be used at the right time, in the right way, or she'll turn the narrative against you." Lily's hand closed over the USB, her eyes steely with determination. "She's not going to ruin everything I've built with Michael. Not without a fight." Later that evening, the formalities of the gathering gave way to private discussions. In a lavish corner of the mansion, a group of potential investors had gathered to discuss finalizing the big merger. Cassandra presided over the meeting like a queen, occasionally glancing at Michael for support. Lily hovered on the periphery, waiting for the opportune moment. Robert stood nearby, ready to intervene if necessary. As they talked about projected growth rates and the synergy between Michael's company and Cassandra's global network, Lily felt her resolve solidify. She stepped forward, making her presence impossible to ignore. "Excuse me," she said sweetly, smiling at the room full of high-powered individuals. "May I say a few words?" Michael blinked, looking startled. "Lily." Cassandra arched an eyebrow, clearly not amused. Of course, Miss S. Thornton, by all means. Lily inhaled, summoning courage. She cast a purposeful glance toward Robert, who discreetly queued up a presentation on a nearby laptop. The screen lit up, revealing a series of emails, bank transfers, and official letters bearing Cassandra Knight's name. The guests fell silent, their eyes riveted to the screen. "These documents," Lily began, her voice remarkably steady, "shed light on certain questionable activities linked to Miss Knight's previous dealings. Funds were diverted, misleading statements made to partners, and hefty sums disappeared shortly before deals closed." A murmur swept through the group. Cassandra's face blanched for the briefest moment. Then she plastered on a serene mask. "This is a misunderstanding," she purred. "Those documents must be forgeries. This is an attempt to slander me." "I assure you they are authentic," Lily replied, glancing at Robert, who gave a curt nod of confirmation. "You see, your track record suggests a pattern, Miss Knight. A pattern of deception, manipulation, and betrayal." One of the board members, a grey-haired man in a bespoke suit, leaned forward, peering closely at the screen. "These look real. If so, we have serious cause for concern." Michael stood frozen, the colour draining from his face. He stared at Lily as if seeing her for the first time. "Lily, why didn't you tell me?" Her gaze flicked to him, heartbreak etched in her features. "Would you have listened?" Cassandra tried to laugh, but the sound came out hollow. "This is a witch hunt. Michael, do something." Michael's eyes were filled with conflicting emotions. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he turned to the board members, who waited for his response with bated breath. We need to investigate this," he managed, running a shaking hand through his hair. "If these documents are legitimate, we can't move forward with Cassandra's plan until we clear this up." A hush fell over the room, thick with tension. Cassandra stood abruptly, her flawless composure cracking at the edges. "So, that's it? You're just going to trust these documents over my word?" Michael swallowed hard, looking genuinely torn. "I have to protect my company, Cassandra. If there's even a possibility," she smirked, turning her gaze on Lily. "Nicely played. But let me warn you, dear Lily, you've made a powerful enemy tonight." Without another word, Cassandra stormed out, her stilettos echoing against the marble floors. The investors traded uneasy glances, and then they too began to disperse. Within minutes, the party was in shambles, the once buzzing living room now eerily still. An hour later, Lily stood on the balcony overlooking the estate's manicured gardens. The city lights twinkled in the distance, but her mind was a whirl of conflicted emotions. She had succeeded in exposing Cassandra, potentially safeguarding Michael and the company from a devastating betrayal. Yet a hollow ache lingered in her chest. Michael had nearly been seduced by the promise of more power, more wealth, heedless of the toll on their marriage. Soft footsteps approached. She turned to see Michael, his expression fraught with guilt and relief. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he stepped closer, voice trembling. "Thank you." Lily arched her brows. "For what? Publicly humiliating your investor or saving your company's future?" He sighed heavily, running a hand down his face. "Both, I guess. I was blinded by ambition. I let Cassandra's allure of unstoppable growth overshadow what really matters." A bitter laugh escaped her lips. "And what does really matter to you, Michael? Because it certainly hasn't felt like me for the past year." He reached for her hand, but she pulled away, arms crossed over her chest protectively. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I lost sight of us. I didn't cheat on you, Lily, please believe that, but emotionally. I was already halfway out the door. I see that now." A single tear rolled down Lily's cheek. "You hurt me. I know. You brought her to our home," Lily continued, her voice cracking. "You let her swagger in like she was entitled to my place. I was a fool, Michael admitted, blinking back tears of his own. I let greed and pride cloud my judgment. I never wanted to push you away. Silence stretched between them. Down below, a gentle breeze stirred the garden's fountains, the soft trickle of water a distant soundtrack to their confrontation. "Lily," Michael said finally, voice hushed, "I want to fix this. I want to put you first, for once." She looked at him, her expression weary and distant. "Is it too late? Because I'm not sure I can trust you anymore. Not after everything." Desperation flashed in Michael's eyes. "I'll do anything to earn back your trust. Please just give me a chance." Lily shook her head, tears glistening. Memories of their wedding day surfaced, the hope and optimism that had once fueled her love. It was all so far away now. "Maybe we need time apart," she murmured, her voice trembling. "I can't pretend we can heal overnight." Michael's shoulders slumped, but he nodded as though he understood. "If that's what you need." She stepped past him, heading inside to pack a small suitcase. The staff discreetly avoided her gaze, sensing the emotional storm raging in their employer's marriage. Before exiting the mansion, Lily turned one last time, her eyes meeting Michael's from across the foyer. No words were exchanged. The heartbreak between them spoke loudly enough. The news of Cassandra's abrupt departure from the negotiations sent shockwaves through the business world. Some saw Michael Thornton as a fool for driving away such a high-profile investor. Others applauded him for exposing corruption in his own ranks. Meanwhile, Lily had retreated to her parents' home, seeking solace in the familiar embrace of George and Sophie Wilson. In the days that followed, Michael's phone calls to Lily went unanswered. He texted her long apologies, confessions of regret, pleas for forgiveness. She read them in silence, tears soaking her pillow at night. Her parents hovered, concerned, urging her to do what felt right for her own well-being. At the same time, rumors circulated that Cassandra might be planning a lawsuit or a smear campaign, claiming defamation. That only stoked Michael's anxiety further. He reached out to Robert Chan, looking for guidance. They met at a quiet bistro on the edge of town. Robert found Michael a shadow of his former self, no longer the confident billionaire, but a man consumed by remorse and fear. Over coffee, Michael spilled his worries, voice hushed and urgent. "What if she sues?" Michael asked, glancing around to ensure no one was listening. "The documents Lily presented were stolen, right? Or at least I didn't have them. Cassandra could twist this around." Robert sipped his coffee calmly, though his eyes revealed a hint of sympathy. "Don't worry about that. The evidence is solid. If Cassandra fights us, we can counter with the proof. She'd lose more than she'd gain." Michael's shoulders sagged in relief. "That's something, at least. But what about Lily? She won't talk to me. I'm losing my mind." Robert pressed his lips together, considering his words carefully. "You put her through hell, Michael. You have to let her decide when and if she's ready to talk. You can't rush it." Michael nodded, gaze distant. "I know, but every day she's away, I realize how much she means to me. It's terrifying. All this money, all these businesses, none of it matters without her." Robert leaned forward, lowering his voice. "If you truly want her back, show her you've changed. Don't just say it. Let your actions speak." That simple advice spurred Michael into a new kind of desperation. He launched a flurry of philanthropic initiatives in Lily's name, donated to causes close to her heart, and cancelled a series of international trips. He even started a scholarship fund at Lily's old community college, aiming to support students from modest backgrounds. All these gestures, he hoped, would convey his sincere desire to rekindle their bond. But Lily remained uncertain. Despite noticing his efforts, she couldn't shake the fear that once his business stabilized again, he might revert to the man he had become under Cassandra's sway. After weeks of separation, Lily finally agreed to meet Michael at a neutral location, a quaint flower garden in the heart of the city. The garden was a place they had visited early in their marriage, back when a simple walk among blooming roses felt like the height of luxury. Lily wore a casual sundress, hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. Michael arrived in a simple shirt and slacks, looking uncharacteristically nervous. They walked side by side, a cautious silence enveloping them. Eventually, Lily spoke. "Why did you choose here?" Michael smiled faintly. "Because this is where we used to come when life was simpler." I'm trying to remember what mattered to us then. Lily stopped by a patch of white lilies, her namesake flowers. She reached out and touched a delicate petal. "I remember wanting a small house, a family, just a quiet life. But then you proposed. And for a time, it was a fairy tale. Then it wasn't." He stood beside her, hands in his pockets. "I got lost in the world of big deals and bigger ambitions. I wanted to give you everything, but in the process I forgot that what you wanted was me, not my money." She closed her eyes, inhaling the sweet fragrance of the flowers. "And if Cassandra hadn't shown her true colors, would you have ever realized how far astray you'd gone?" Michael took a moment to respond. "Maybe not. Maybe we needed this crisis. It forced me to see that my pursuit of success had become an obsession, overshadowing the love we built." A tear slipped down Lily's cheek. "I've been so angry with you, but I've also missed you." Michael gently took her hand. She didn't pull away this time. "I can't erase what happened, but I want to rebuild if you'll let me." She gazed at him, searching his eyes for sincerity. Slowly she exhaled, feeling the tension in her shoulders begin to ease. "I'm not ready to move back in yet. I need us to go to counseling, to rebuild trust. It won't happen overnight, Michael." He nodded earnestly. "I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, time, space, I'm here for all of it." They continued walking, talking softly about the baby steps that might lead to healing. The sun dipped low in the sky, painting the garden in warm hues of orange and gold. For the first time in a long while, Lily allowed herself a seed of hope. Perhaps, with time and effort, they could find their way back to each other. Although Cassandra's immediate threat had receded, she hadn't completely vanished from the scene. Michael's legal team discovered she was floating rumors of defamation and blaming Lily for the collapse of the merger. Subtle threats of a lawsuit trickled in. During a tense video conference call, Cassandra and her team appeared, scowling at Michael and his lawyers. She claimed the documents Lily had shown were fabricated, designed to sabotage her career. Her demands included a public apology and a hefty settlement to compensate for the damage to her reputation. Michael clenched his jaw, ignoring his lawyer's cautioning glances. "You're not getting a penny from me. We have enough evidence of your past dealings to defend ourselves if this goes to court," Cassandra sneered. "You have no idea what you're up against. I can tie you in litigation for years. Are you sure your precious Lily wants to endure that?" A spark of anger lit Michael's eyes. "Leave my wife out of this. You won't win." Her gaze flickered, as though acknowledging the shift in Michael's priorities. "We'll see." Shortly after, Cassandra's legal threats fizzled out. Perhaps she recognized that Michael's legal team was equally formidable, or maybe she had already set her sights on a new target. In any case, her departure felt like the final page in a dark chapter of Michael and Lily's lives. The road to reconciliation was not easy. Lily and Michael attended couples therapy, unearthing old wounds and resentments. They worked through communication exercises that forced them to be vulnerable, sometimes painfully so. Michael revealed that his obsession with empire building stemmed from a deep-rooted fear of failing Lily, of not being the provider he thought she deserved. Lily admitted that she had often felt like an outsider in Michael's world, reluctant to ask for help or share her insecurities. Gradually, the walls between them began to crumble. They spent quiet evenings cooking dinner together, each meal an act of teamwork. Michael resumed simpler hobbies, like reading and occasional woodworking, which he had abandoned in pursuit of bigger deals. Lily returned to her charitable work with renewed purpose, focusing on bridging the gap between the underprivileged and those with resources. One evening, after returning from a counseling session, Lily found Michael seated in the living room, flipping through their old wedding album. She smiled, joining him on the couch. The photo on the current page showed them dancing under fairy lights, her expression radiant as her gaze locked with his. "We look so happy," she remarked softly. He placed an arm around her shoulders, pulling her close. "I want to feel that way again, every day." She looked up into his eyes, tears threatening to spill. "So do I." In that moment, she realized how far they had come from the brink of collapse to a point where hope blossomed anew. Their journey had been fraught with betrayal, anger, and heartbreak, but it had also unearthed a profound truth. Their love, though tested, was still worth fighting for. After weathering a maelstrom of betrayal, shattered trust, and soul-searching confessions, Lily and Michael stood together on the threshold of a renewed life. Their marriage had been tested by greed, ambition, and the seductive pull of forbidden promises. Yet through the storm, they rediscovered the foundation of their bond, a love that transcended wealth and material desires. As they moved forward, hearts still fragile but filled with cautious optimism, they proved that even the most broken relationships can be mended with honesty, commitment, and forgiveness. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If Lily and Michael's trials and triumphs resonated with you, or even if you simply enjoyed a dramatic tale of romance and redemption, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you stories of love, resilience, and the power of second chances. Stay tuned for more heartfelt narratives and never stop believing in the transformative power of love.